Hello, everyone. Welcome back to College Football Corner. Joe Archino here with you once again, getting you set up for an incredible weekend in college football. And I think once again, when we look at the biggest match this weekend, it's got to be number 5 Oklahoma traveling to the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. And I think obviously you have to look at Oklahoma's start to the season. Oklahoma won their first game 56-7 over UTEP, and of course Baker Mayfield returning this season. He was sensational in the first performance, 19 of 20, 329 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, I think obviously this is a very big challenge for Oklahoma's new head coach, Lincoln Riley, at 33 years old. Obviously, Bob Stoops retired back in June, but this is a very big challenge for a guy like Lincoln Riley. Obviously, Oklahoma retains their key offensive and defensive coordinators, but Lincoln Riley, when you're going up against a guy like Urban Meyer, that's a big challenge, and he's really going to have to trust in his veteran quarterback to really get the job done in this one. But last season, this is obviously a revenge game for the Sooners. Last season, Oklahoma got thrashed at home against Ohio State. They lost 45-24. Baker Mayfield threw 2 picks against the Buckeyes, and quite frankly, he's just going to have to be much better. He cannot turn the football over in enemy territory against a very, very good Ohio State defensive line. And I think when we look at it, Ohio State's secondary is still where there's a lot of questions, but up front, they're one of the best in the country. They have so many big physical guys, and for a player like Mayfield, who's not the biggest guy in the world, that's going to present a lot of challenges for him. But I think obviously the loss is something that still stings for Mayfield. He's a guy who really is so competitive, and that's something that Urban Meyer talked to in his press conference this week, how much he admires that competitiveness and that toughness of Baker Mayfield. But certainly he is ready for what is going to be a challenging and what should be a very exciting game.
I think during the play, it's just going to be one of the most physical games of the year in all of college football. I think it's a huge matchup between the offensive and defensive lines, huge talented fronts. So I think it's going to be, within the play, it's going to be a huge matchup. But then before and after the play, I think there will be words exchanged. It's just, it is what it is. I think it's free game come, after the whistle.
And certainly after the whistle, we will all be watching and paying close attention to this one because, like I've alluded to earlier, this is a revenge game. Oklahoma wants to come into here, and they want to avenge what happened to them at home last season. But that's much easier said than done, and I am very confident on the Buckeyes in this Saturday. And I wasn't totally impressed with Ohio State's opening victory over Indiana, 49-21, but I think in a game of this magnitude, it really does come down to the word experience. Before I talked about Lincoln Riley at 33 years old, he has a tremendous opportunity coaching this team, being at the head of the helm. But when you're going up against a guy like Urban Meyer, who's got a veteran quarterback in JT Barrett, the two of them know what it takes to win together. That's a very difficult situation to overcome. And while I still think Oklahoma is very talented and Baker Mayfield is going to be up and ready for this game, Ohio State's home. Ohio State has the experience where it matters most, and to me, that's probably the biggest takeaway from this game. But Urban Meyer, very interestingly, was asked this week, is it more difficult to game plan for a guy like Lincoln Riley without a coaching footprint under his belt? And this is what he said.
No, because they have the same coordinators on both sides of the ball, and I know Coach Bob Stoops very well, and I know why he did that, because he thought he would carry on the same culture that he created, and so it's going to be the same Oklahoma team.
So we know Urban Meyer's expecting much of the same from Oklahoma like he did last season, and I think you just look at what he did, and when we look at it, the defensive line for Ohio State is going to cause a lot of problems for Oklahoma in this game. It should be a very competitive matchup. I think it will be more competitive than it was last season, but I think at the end of the day, experience is what's going to set Ohio State apart in this one, and I have them getting it done. JT Barrett is certainly one of the guys I really want to watch out for, because last season he had one of his best games against Oklahoma, 14 of 20, 4 touchdowns, 152 yards last year, very efficient, very in control. And after the game against Indiana, certainly you want to watch JT Barrett start to get into rhythm. So I have my eyes on JT Barrett. I have my eyes on the Buckeyes, and I think they get it done at home. But that is going to do it for this episode of College Football Corner, everyone. Hope you enjoy and just sit back and relax and watch this great one play out in front of your eyes this weekend. Until next week, I'll see everybody.